Everyone has suffered through a bad breakup at one point or another in their lifetime. But one woman in Brazil took her feelings of jealousy and her desire for revenge to the extreme. Just before the Easter holiday, she poisoned some chocolate eggs and sent them to her ex-boyfriend's new family. Attached to the beautiful chocolate eggs was a note that read, "With love, Happy Easter." At the time of this recording, the 7-year-old boy has died. The 13-year-old girl is in critical condition, and the mother looks like she might recover, but has a long road ahead of her. After the news broke, we found out that this woman had tried to poison her rival once before, but it had gone unnoticed. We also find that she had traveled 200 miles, bought the eggs in disguise, and then paid to have them professionally delivered to the woman's door. We all have psycho exes, but this woman is on the next level. This case is brought to you by Chaos Rules in Madhouse, Madison County, Missouri. This rural community should be a safe place, but it hides a dark secret. Fredericktown is one of the most dangerous places to live in America. With a crime rate of 31 per 1,000 residents, Fredericktown has one of the highest crime rates compared to all communities of all sizes. I started researching one case sent to me by a desperate grandmother that led me to 15 more. Then I realized this county has had murder, corruption, and chaos since before the Wild West days. This book will start with the lynching by a Fredericktown mob in 1844 and will end up in an explosion. Hold on to your seats when you read this one. You're in for a wild, chaotic ride through rural Missouri. Check out my new book, Madhouse, Madison County, today. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Chasing Justice. I am your host, Sonova Cantrell. On the line, I have two of my favorite co-hosts. I have Cricket Andrews and Miss Tammy. How are you girls?
Good. Hope everyone had a good Easter.
I think today's case is relevant. It's in the news right now, and it's something that I thought we needed to talk about because although it is so far it is solved, we do kind of know who did this and what happened. We need to talk about this because I thought it was something we need to raise awareness about. There are so many children that receive candy at the Easter holiday, and although in America anyways, we are kind of conditioned and trained to check our children's Halloween candy, I know for in my case and in everyone I've talked to, we don't always check our Easter candy for our children. And so this is a case that I found disturbing. It's going on right now. And all of you people that, I try not to get too religious or political on the channel, but all of you people who know how to pray or give good vibes or good juju, whatever you send them the way of this family, because we have 3 people who were poisoned by chocolate eggs that were poisoned by a woman, and the little boy has died. The girl, the 13-year-old girl, is in critical condition, and so is the mother. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. This case has happened in Brazil, and it is a recent case. So the name Jordelia Barbosa, I will try to throw up a picture real quick. This is the woman that we are talking about, Jordelia Barbosa. She decided that she was angry with her ex-boyfriend. She wanted revenge against his new girlfriend and or partner. I'm not sure what their relationship status was, but she also had 2 children. She decided she wanted revenge, and she decided she was going to get it at whatever cost. Now, as of last Wednesday, this is when she actually succeeded in her mission. She had tried to do this one other time before, and she was stopped. But we're going to find out that this woman was very vindictive, and she was going to take down her ex's woman, no matter what it took. This woman drove 200 miles from her home. This woman tried to go to her rival's place of business, and the way they phrase it was a little odd. I'm thinking it's kind of along the same lines of you go to some grocery stores and they give out samples, free samples. she tried to go to this grocery store and offered the management and the employees chocolate tastings, is how they phrased it. So I'm assuming that's what that is. But we didn't know anything about this. All of a sudden, we find out about this when she is arrested on April 16th of this year, just a few days ago. On the doorstep of we're just going to say her first name, Miriam, I think is what her first name is. On her doorstep, she was delivered. She got a box of chocolates delivered for Easter. Now, most of us probably would find that suspicious. Maybe it's just me finding it suspicious because I was raised by an ex-street thug. I would immediately call around, see who in the heck sent me chocolate before I dared touch it. But I'm a little bit on the crazy side because I was raised by an ex-street thug who I always thought was just an overprotective parent. And then my first true crime book was an ex-gangster from Chicago, and he taught me a few other things. And so 10 years more of true crime stories. I see some red flags here. So I realize not everybody does. So I wanted to frame this whole story as an educational experience because we've got 3 people who were poisoned by chocolate eggs, and this could have been prevented in various different ways, and it's extremely tragic. And so I thought we need to make sure and raise awareness about this just to protect our children. Now, nobody, she may have not had she may have not realized that this woman was after her. She obviously probably knew of this woman. She probably, had heard something. She may have had some run-ins with her, but no one ever wants to think that your partner's ex is going to kill you. And so this is a extremely tragic tale. And we're going to find out all about it. Her name was Jordelia Barbosa, and she had tried to kill her Miss Miriam. Now, she had gone to the store. She had tried to hand out candies to the employees. And the manager caught the red flag. The manager seen the red flag. The first one was, "Can you tell me what company you're representing? You're not going to come into the grocery store and hand out food if you can't tell me who you work for." And that was the very first gatekeeper that closed that door on her. So she had traveled 200 miles. She was going to poison this woman, and she wasn't going to stop. By this point, she was seeing red. She was ready to follow through on her plan. The grocery store option didn't work, so she changed her plans. Now you will see. Here's another photo. Now in the video description, you're going to see links to all of the websites that I used to get these screenshots. These screenshots are not mine. They are owned by the news companies that took them or the stores that took them. Now you see this dark-headed woman in sunglasses right here. She is buying the chocolate egg. Now, if you notice, she is blonde. She is not dark-headed. She was wearing a wig and sunglasses. So she traveled 200 miles. She tried one way, it didn't work. She puts on her wig, her sunglasses. She buys Easter eggs. Now, these are not like what we would see in the U.S. You think chocolate eggs, you think of something like Cadbury eggs, where they're egg-shaped and hollow on the inside. What she actually got looked almost like a pie. I'll show you. Right here's what we got in this container here, and you can kind of see it here. It had a crust on it. It almost looked like chocolate cream and then sprinkles on the top. Now, this is what she purchased. She purchased these chocolate eggs, and then she opened the package, spiked it with some kind of poison. We do not know which kind of poison yet. The tests, if the results are in, they haven't announced it yet. They have sent this off for testing. Now, the most tragic point in this whole story is that the little boy that tasted it. Now, Miss Miriam had 2 children. She has a 13-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old boy. And that 7-year-old boy got sick immediately. He ate the egg. He got sick immediately. They rushed him to the hospital, and that poor child died the next day. So he died last Thursday um, because of this woman's hatred for her ex's new family. So this woman has killed one person, poisoned two others, and as of this moment, I'm looking right now as we speak. I don't see any new updates. There was an update that came up earlier this afternoon that said, as of yesterday, both the mother and the 13-year-old daughter were in critical condition, not expected to make it. As of this afternoon, the mother is making slight progress, and it looks like she's able to communicate with family. And it says she is receiving psychological treatment. Um, I am massively happy to see that is the very first thing they announce, that they're giving this woman some therapy, because this poor woman has not only had someone attempt to murder her and her children, she was actively involved in allowing the kids to eat the candy because she didn't know it was poisoned. And so that is going to be something that this poor woman, if she survives this, that poor woman is going to have to try to live and exist with that knowledge for the rest of her life. And so, like I said, if I believe in the power of prayer, I don't know if you guys do. If that offends you, I'm sorry, you can go to another channel. But I ask everyone that watches this to send your prayers, your good vibes, everything to Brazil, to this woman, because she needs all the help she can get. And she's going to need it from now on. Now, the 13-year-old child, I haven't seen any updates on her, and the last thing that's reported is that she is still in critical condition. So you've got a 13-year-old child and a 35-year-old mother who have done absolutely nothing wrong, and yet now they're suffering at the hands of this vindictive woman. Now, that kind of gives you the basic overview of what happened in this case. But I want to go over some specific red flags that I feel like, not blaming anybody again, but just there are red flags that if we can educate ourselves, educate our friends, educate other mothers, maybe we can save a child. Maybe we can protect a child from something like this in the future. For one, you also have to look at this packaging too. That packaging wouldn't fly in the US. In the US, there has been so many mass poisonings and different things in the US that everything has so much wrapping on it and so much, so much child-proof packaging that that would not fly in the US. That is literally just a snap-on lid that she could snap off, inject it with something, snap it back on. So for one, that is one hindrance in the US that I see, that the US has made strides to try to make our community safer. But I want to talk about the red flags. I want all of the families on here, all of the mothers on here, the parents on here, grandparents. I want you to just have this in the back of your mind, because we do check our Halloween candy. We check our Halloween candy for some very specific reasons. There's some very specific cases I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes that gave us that knowledge the hard way. Some knowledge, unfortunately, we learned the hard way, and we end up having to suffer for that knowledge. But if we can somehow protect the next group of people, we're doing a good thing. So Cricket, I'll let you start first on this. I've gave you the basic overviews. When we're talking about red flags, to me, I've seen several red flags right at once. I want Karen Langston says, did they catch the woman? They have arrested the girlfriend, and we will talk about what they found. We'll talk about what they found on her person, in her luggage. We'll also talk about what she's facing and what her excuses were. We'll get into that. But yes, as of right now, the woman's name is Barbosa, is her last name. I have to look at her first name to pronounce it correctly. Jordelia Barbosa. They have arrested her And of course, she's denying. But they have arrested her, and she is sitting in prison. They have not publicly announced what they're charging her with. Because they are probably waiting to see if we know that she is most likely, of course you have to say allegedly, which seems ridiculous in this case, but she allegedly has killed one person and potentially killed two others. And so they're probably waiting to find out exactly the extent of what's going to happen before they charge her. So Cricket, let me know, to me, when you have somebody like this come to your door and they hire somebody to deliver a package to your door. Now, what was really vindictive about this, and what I would say borderline psychotic, the only reason why I say borderline is I don't know this person's background, and I don't have a degree, so I can't diagnose her, but the activity was psychotic in nature. She signed the card. Okay, so the card, they delivered it, a courier delivered it, like you would get flowers or whatever. A courier delivered this package of chocolate eggs. Now, on this letter, and this is what I find this is what I think goes into the psychosis, into psychotic. The tag says, to her first and last name, which to me, that's a red flag. And then it says, with love, happy Easter. Now, my first thought, and Cricket, you can tell me if I'm just being paranoid here. My first thought, it says, to my first and my last name, with love, happy Easter. I would be suspicious, because my boyfriend, my husband, my family, they're not going to say to my first name and my last name. They're going to say my first name. They're going to say my nickname. They would have told the courier service my name and my address and all that. But the card that says who it's from wouldn't say Sonova Cantrell. It would have said Sonova. It would have said a nickname. It would have said other names. It would not have said my first and last name. So to me, that is a very big red flag that some people may not have thought of. But to me, that's a red flag. I'm going to call around and see who sent this. I'm not going to touch that package until I find out where it came from, because it's odd that it says my first and my last name. That it wasn't a postal label that said my first and last name. That was the card, the hand-signed card that came with the gift. So to me, that's a red flag. Cricket, am I just being paranoid?
No, that is a red flag. And also, like you said, the packaging.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think, because we forget these things, and we have to keep these in our minds. I'm from a community that, like, when the COVID was going on, people were making baskets, putting them together and giving them to people.
Yeah.
And but you don't think about it, because there's more good, but then one person does this, and it snaps you back. Like, we have to be careful,
right?
We can't trust anything.
No, and the way I look at it, everybody, society tries to tell you that, well, everybody at their heart is a good person down deep, and that's just not true. That is just not true. Humans at their core, there's good ones and there's bad ones, and in all reality, not everybody is good-hearted. Not everybody is good at their core. There are some people out there. There are some monsters out there that look like humans. They don't. I always hate it when you get on the movies and things, and the serial killer always looks freakish. Always has some big scarred up, or some big tattooed up, or some big deformity, or And I'm like, no, that's not the way it worked. That's not the way it works. Monsters look like other humans. They don't look like, Freddy Krueger or something. They look like humans. And unfortunately, we have to be vigilant, especially when our children are involved, that we check those things. To me, that packaging, if it looked like it had been opened before, if it has my first and my last name on it, I'm calling, it doesn't say whether it's her boyfriend or her husband, so I don't know. I would be calling my partner and saying, "Hey, did you send me some candy?" And he'd be like, "No, I didn't send you any candy." And I'd be like, "Okay, I'm not touching that. We're not going to mess with that until I can figure out who sent it." So to me, that was a red flag. Then you find out that this woman had tried to go to her place of business and tried to give out candy. Well, that may have been something to where that mother didn't know that she was there, because if the manager didn't let her come in, then she may have never run into her, so she may have not
Right.
known that. But of course, if she had known that this woman was at the store trying to pester her, then that would have put her on a higher alert. And so I have a tendency to think that the woman didn't know that this woman was there trying to kill her, right? And then, okay, so when this woman's arrested, she was arrested,
Quick.
almost right away. I mean, she was arrested right away. She tries to tell the police that she bought the candy. She's like, I admit I brought the candy. I admit that I bought the candy, but I didn't poison it. And so here's where, you try to think of the court case when you're going through these things. You think of the court case, and the court case, you got the prosecutor and the defense is going to say, well, she didn't know it was poison. She just bought it at the store like everybody else. Okay. The prosecutor is going to say, yeah, but who drives 200 miles to give their ex-boyfriend's family candy for a holiday?
Didn't she ride the bus? I was thinking she rode a bus.
I have
bus.
She went 200 miles is the point. She went 200 miles. I don't care if she walked or if she went on a freaking bicycle. The point is she traveled 200 miles to give her ex's significant other candy for a holiday, and so I'm like, that's BS. Nobody loves their ex-boyfriend's new flame so much that they're going to travel 200 miles to give her candy. So that's BS. But then, to make another point, we have the store footage that shows her wearing a disguise. So who travels 200 miles to see their ex-boyfriend's new woman, goes in disguise because, heck, I decide I don't want the same hair color, so I'm going to change my hair color, and I'm going to go in disguise to the grocery store, and I'm going to buy her some special candy in disguise because I just like disguises, I guess. I guess that's going to be her next excuse. But she traveled 200 miles. She went in disguise. But then the next thing that I think the prosecutor is going to be able to argue with is, this was your second attempt. You tried to give her poisoned candy at her place of business. And here's the thing that I seen a little phrase in the article that's a little bit unnerving. It says it's unclear whether anybody at her job got poisoned from the candy, because she didn't take no for an answer. She gave out candy to the employees as they came out of the store. Okay. And so again, I'm thinking, why would you take that candy? Why would you eat that? But we also have to realize we're living in another country, and we have been inundated and bombarded with all kinds of gruesome true crime stories. And Brazil maybe not have that. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more of a trusting community. I don't know. I'm not from Brazil. I've never been to Brazil. But to me, I wouldn't take candy from a stranger That was pounded in my head as I was a kid in the 80s. Don't take candy from strangers. Don't put stickers on your skin because they may be laced with LSD. Watch out for razor blades in your apples if you get apples for Halloween. Don't eat any of your Halloween candy if it's been opened before. All of these things have been kind of integrated into our society's way of thinking because of past tragedies. So this may just be an area where these people haven't had to suffer these kinds of tragedies in the past, so they don't know. And so that's the only thing I can think of. But this is the second time that she tried to kill this woman, and she succeeded in poisoning and killing one of her sons. And so I feel like there was some red flags that was missed. But again, we're talking a different country, a different society, a different, so it could be something that maybe they didn't have the Tylenol murders, that we suffered through in the US. I made a quick list. In the 80s, there was the Tylenol poisonings where random bottles of Tylenol were laced with cyanide, and 8 people ended up dying, and nobody ever found out who did that or why. So that's the reason why we have childproof packaging on all of our medications now. In 1964, a New York woman named Helen Feel, she was arrested for handing out ant poisoning and dog biscuits to kids that she thought, she said it was just a joke, but she said those kids were too old to be trick-or-treating. So if somebody she thought was too old, she'd give them a dog biscuit or ant poisoning. The cops caught her before anybody, actually got poisoned and died. But that was an incident in 1964. Halloween 1974, a Texas man named Ronald O'Brien, he gave cyanide-laced pixie sticks to 5 children, including his own son. The other children never ate the pixie sticks, but his son did and died. The police found out that they labeled it the Candyman murders, but they found out that this was done intentionally because he had money problems and he had taken out a life insurance policy on his child. So he intentionally killed his own child, tried to poison several other children to kind of cover it up. In the 1980s, the Japanese were being tormented by a crime ring called Mystery Men with 21 Faces. They blackmailed a major Japanese candy company, saying that if they didn't pay a giant ransom, that they were going to lace their candy with cyanide. So the candy company took all the candy off of the shelves. They tested it. There was no cyanide poisoning, so they called it a hoax, put the candy back. But when they did, the blackmailers end up lacing some of the candy and cookies with cyanide, and once they put them back in the stores. Now, they did catch it before lives were lost, but they never have found that guy. So these are just some basic things that we have had to, as a society, we've had to suffer through to kind of get this hard-earned education that we have to watch these kinds of things. And what's so devastating is this is somebody that knew her. So it was a personal thing. It wasn't even just this person's going to put some random poison in some candy and then we'll see what kind of who ends up with it. This was a targeted attack against this woman and her children, and unfortunately, it looks like she succeeded in one. And if something doesn't change, she may succeed in taking out the whole bunch. And so this is why I wanted to go ahead and bring this out, because I felt like it might be a short video for Tuesday, because normally we, rattle on for an hour. But I thought this is extremely important because when I seen this headline, somebody else shared the headline from the Brazilian paper, and I seen it and I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't check my kids' Easter candy. I check their Halloween candy. That I teach them to check their Halloween candy. But I think that here I'm talking about, I see red flags that other people don't see. And I still didn't check the Easter candy, you know.
Right.
So I'm
And
like, it doesn't
even
matter how much you think you're educated. This could happen to anybody.
yeah, and even the baskets that were being given to people during COVID, no food items.
Mhm. Right,
and
right.
and it was going through community groups, so
Well, and
people
even that, you know, people I'm sure were extremely cautious. They were washing it down with their
exactly.
antibacterial wipes as soon as they brought it in the house, and then washed every item in it, and you know, but you want to think that there's nobody out there that's going to harm children. And that's probably going to be one of her defenses. She's going to say, well, I didn't mean to get them. I was just trying to get her. But
when you
when you put it
give
in candy,
chocolate where there's kids in the house, you can't say, oh, I didn't think that the kids were going to get it.
well, I mean, absolutely. I haven't heard much from you, Miss Tammy. If you got chocolate delivered to your door and your granddaughter wanted a piece of it and you were eating it, you'd have a hard time telling her no. I mean, you'd give her candy. I mean, if you thought the candy was safe and they want candy, you'd share it with her, wouldn't you?
Well, I think I would have been suspicious of it.
You would have been suspicious, but my point is if you have chocolate and your kid wants some of the chocolate, it's just human nature to share it.
Right.
You know?
Right, especially Easter candy.
Yeah.
And I was kind of wondering about this woman, like maybe they ought to look into any of her other ex-boyfriends or family members, because to do something so drastic, it makes you wonder if, has she done something like this before? Or,
Yeah.
like look into her history and,
Well, I think
something.
once we find out what kind of poison it is, I know you and I had talked, we was trying to kind of discuss back and forth. Was it drugs? Was it chemicals? Was it this? Was it that? And I never found anything that said specifically. Did you?
No.
No,
No,
I
I
didn't
didn't
think
either.
so. I think they're keeping that close until, or it's just not done. It's not done yet. But I do know that the boy that died almost immediately, his hand swelled up huge and turned purple.
And he
So,
was the youngest,
my
so it
thought on it
affected
is,
him a lot quicker.
right, it did. My thought on it is, whatever it was filling his system with inflammation faster than his system could process it. And your hands, if they're swelling up like that, they do turn purple. And if it swells up too fast, your body just can't process through it. That's basically the concepts of congestive heart failure. It's not your heart failing. There's just too much inflammation around it, and it puts too much pressure on it. So I don't know if that would tell us kind of what it was, if that was a reaction to a chemical, or if that was a reaction to drugs. The reason why I say chemical is because they said, and I've been trying to get more pictures available so I don't have to share screens all the time. But they do have a picture here of all of the things that they found in her luggage. And I will go ahead and share that.
Gray Wolf commented on here that to him it sounds like strychnine.
I've seen that. It might possibly be. Okay, so you see her. This is her lounging around at her hotel. And then this is things that they found in her luggage. And I don't know what all that stuff is. And then here's all of her belongings that was found. And it says in some of this verbiage down below, this article says drugs. The other article I seen said chemicals. And so I don't know if it's a some kind of translation issue, or if they're not sure which one it is. But I think when it all comes down to it, this woman there is massive proof that she was determined to kill somebody, and she has succeeded. And we just need to pray and hope she doesn't succeed in the other two as well.
Yeah. And
And
in
then,
my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I feel that whatever it was injected, because that's the fastest way.
into the Easter eggs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think
I
so
don't think
too.
it was
And that
hard.
wouldn't require her to take the whole package off or to destroy the egg.
Exactly.
I think whatever it is she probably injected it, just opened the corner and injected it into each one, and then snapped the corner back down so the whole package hadn't been completely opened. Um, uh,
Yeah, it didn't look stirred, so I would say, yeah, it
right.
probably was injected.
Yeah, I agree. So this is kind of a shorter video, and I will keep you guys posted on what I find. I will let you guys know when it goes to court, if they post anything, about the mother. I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you posted as good as I can. But I just wanted to share this because we have to be vigilant when it comes to our candy with our kids and with ourselves. And this poor woman has suffered so much, and if she survives this, she's going to continue to suffer. This woman has killed her emotionally, whether physically or not. This woman has succeeded, and this poor mother will never quite be the same. And Grey Wolf says acute arsenic poisoning can cause hands to swell, changes in skin color, violent abdominal pain before death. It could absolutely be arsenic. You know.
Oh, I remember when the poison apples. I remember that.
Oh, Venus
The
says,
bobbing for apples.
yeah.
Yep.
Venus says there was an incident where a child died when bobbing for apples in the late 60s or 70s. They were poisoned candy apples. I remember that now that you say something. So this is what we want to talk about this week. I will have another case next week. It'll be a longer case. I have a case that I'm actually pretty interested into jumping in. We've got another wrongful conviction case. The family of this man has been sending in files to me for 2 weeks, and so we're going to dig into that case next week. The next week will be a longer video, but I felt like we needed to make sure and share this because we might check our Halloween candy, but we might get lax and not check the Easter candy. So just keep an eye out. There's evil people out there that are they want what they want, and they will get it at whatever cost. I don't understand what this woman thought she was going to accomplish with this, because what she thinks, if she kills her ex-boyfriend's new woman, that he's going to come back to her. I mean, how that doesn't even compute, So it's like, what drove this woman other than sheer hatred? I don't know. But she has succeeded in devastating this family and her ex-boyfriend, which was her goal. And they will never function the same. They will have this trauma hanging over their head if they survive it for the rest of their lives because of this woman. And if I can save one person from going through something like this by raising awareness about this, then that's what we want to do. So, girls, do you have anything less to say?
I'd like to say she was even willing to kill people that worked in the store that weren't even family.
Yeah, she didn't care.
So that's why I think, man, they need to look into her past, because
I agree. And I will say that the police, it looks like on this, the police are doing 110% of exactly what they're supposed to do. They've collected all the evidence. They've sent everything off for testing. They've got all the CCTV footage. They have done their job and done a good job, because they caught her and they got her taken down right away. And so I was like, kudos to the Brazilian police in that area for doing such a good job so quickly.
And we forget about these things because for the most part, the good people are doing things.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you have these, and then it's like, okay, we have to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't want to breed any paranoia in anybody, but make sure and check your Easter candy too, and pay attention to your surroundings. If you've got somebody that vindictive in your in your near your close circle, pay attention, keep an eye on them. Because you want to think this could never happen to you, but in all reality, this could have happened to anybody who has a vindictive ex. And that, I think, is what's scary about it. This could happen to anybody who has just a vindictive ex with just a slight skew in the way their brain processes things. A slight skew towards psychopathy. And this could happen to anybody. And so keep an eye out on the people you love. Keep an eye out on your children. And keep an eye out on, they say keep your enemies closer. Keep an eye out on them too, because you can't take it for granted that they're not going to do something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, guys. That's what we got for this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please share it. Make sure and check your kids' candy. And I will see you next week with a wrongful conviction case. See you later.
Have a good week.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bones Coffee Company. You can forget about boring coffee when you drink Bones Coffee. Not only do they offer a variety of flavors such as strawberry cheesecake and maple bacon, they are a family-owned company that puts great detail not only in their coffee, but in the artwork that comes on each individual bag. Bones Coffee has a coffee club that will deliver your favorite coffee to your door every month. If that wasn't enough, they also have some amazing swag to offer. Check out Bones Coffee Company today. I'll have my affiliate links in the show notes for you.